Hey y'all, my name is Kendee Hilliard. I'm a sophomore on the volleyball team, and this is Redbirds Uncut. I've grown up in predominantly white institutions, which is just where I've been kind of the minority in the room. It was never presented to me as a challenge just because it was considered normal, and I would never really understand what microaggressions were or just being seen as the only one until like certain situations have happened. It was oftentimes very lonely in a sense to where like no one truly knew how I felt and who I was as a person. So it would, for me to get comfortable, I would have to talk to my mom, talk to my older brother about what's been going on and how I feel. And it was like the only time I could be myself was when I was with my family. And we had the racism talk from, I want to say when I was 4 to even we continue to have that conversation. I was always too black for my white friends and then too white for my black friends. So that was always like the culture change of what we call in the black community the switch code. Being the only one in the room of your color and your race is definitely an experience, I would say, just because you have a whole lot of pressure of either trying to switch code and adapt to the majority in the room or trying to be yourself. So I would say just growing up, I often had the challenge of, can I be myself in this room? And oftentimes it was no. As a black person now, I feel like I can't just let the black side of me slide because it is who I am. And before I am a volleyball player, vice president of SAC, anything I am a part of a sorority, I am a black woman first. There's 2 events where I can remember very vividly, and it was those moments where I was like, wow, I'm a black woman in a predominantly white institution and predominantly white area, culture, everything. The first one was, I want to say my 8th grade year. I went to a private school, basically an all-white private school. We were kind of small, but we were big for a private school. And we went to this track meet full of other public schools, and there was three black students in my grade, 2 others including myself, and we were walking with our teammates, our track mates. All the other schools were like, oh, those are the project kids. Those are they're gonna win these events that they're participating in, or they only got here because of a scholarship. I've never felt more alone and more misunderstood, especially because of how I value my academics and how I value my athletics and how I am as a black woman. And my other example is going to a volleyball tournament, and I was with my teammates, and they're predominantly white, and we were watching this super stud team from Texas, and they had one black girl, and she went up for a kill, demolished it and everything, and she kind of walked away from her teammates as it was like, oh, well, I'm supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to cheer and everything because I'm too excited or too competitive. And she just kind of walked away from her teammates and reset for the next play. And my teammates were like, oh, she has such a bad attitude. Kendee, I'm glad you're not like that. And it became more for me as, wow, you're the exception. Like, you're the exception for a black person because you're not loud, because you're not angry or being seen as the angry black woman. I was like, oh, you're the exception. The reason why sport is so important is because it builds relationships. And if I know that my teammate next to me supports me as a black person, supports me as a woman, as a fellow woman, then we're more likely to win more games. And with professional athletes taking a stance or kneeling in some cases, that inspires me to do the same or to speak up and use my platform for that exact same reason. I wouldn't be where I am today without the outside organizations outside of athletics. I'm involved in a sorority, which is seen as predominantly Black, but that helped me embrace my Black culture. I love who I am as a person, and I'm still learning things and still growing to be an amazing Black woman in this society. And with me using my platform as the vice president of SAC and just being on the volleyball team, I can be the voice for the voiceless. That gives me hope walking in every day knowing that my teammates support me, my coaches support me, and administration supports me and my platform. I think being involved in something bigger than yourself is always gonna transform you into being a better person. Because if you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for everything. And with this opportunity of supporting Black Lives Matter and being the spokesperson for it, it gave me a whole lot of courage to speak up and step out about how I'm feeling. Something that bothers me just with several other discussions is the phrase, "I don't see color." If you don't see my color, you don't see who I am, you don't see my experiences, and it's also kind of like you don't respect or value me as a person, because my skin color is who I am, and it's a reason why I'm great as a person, and it's great that my family is Black, my lifestyle is Black, and just moving forward, I'm Black, and as James Brown would say, I'm Black and I'm proud. So when you say you don't see color, it's like you don't see all that grace, all that greatness, and all the things that it signifies as a Black person and as a Black woman. This is a big thing, but this has been happening years before this, years before that. We had slavery, we had Jim Crow, and the things that are just different about that compared to now is because we're talking about it and we're being more aware that this is a thing and this is happening. But my main concern and what I'm deeply afraid of is we're talking about this now, but what happens tomorrow? What happens in a week? What happens in a month? 3 months from now? When season comes back? Like, people are expecting me, I'm talking about this now, but once season hits, oh, she's probably not gonna have time to discuss these issues, and we don't have to worry about it then, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna speak about this until my face turns blue. It was my idea to have the SAC Zoom forum for all student athletes, just because I've talked to other SAC presidents and other student senior associate directors of student athlete development, and they've all had these forums and these discussions for student athletes as a whole. So I was like, we need to have this here at ISU. And I presented the idea to Miss Leanna and Andrea, my president, of creating a space to where the student athletes can talk about kneeling, talk about microaggressions, talk about Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. And I think it went really well. It allowed for several people to speak up and say, hey, like, I truly don't feel supported, or I feel this is the most supported I've ever felt. And it was really cool to see. This is a great first step, but let's keep it moving forward. And one thing I stressed on there heavily was that coming to the forum, it shouldn't be a checking the box of, hey, I supported Black Lives Matter today. It should be a step forward, like, oh, this is how my teammate is feeling, this is how my other student athletes are feeling, and this is how we move forward. It should be that attitude, not a, oh, I supported Black Lives Matter today. When you get to the level the plan, or the level I would like to be, which is an athletic director, you can be the most educated, the most determined, the most qualified, and I will still be 5 steps behind a white man, 4 steps behind a white woman, 3 steps behind a Black man and other races. And it's like, as a Black woman being at the bottom, I have to work 20 times harder to get what I want and to get what I need to succeed. And that's just not fair. I'm still kind of learning how to adjust and how to develop my confidence to beating the odds, as people would say. What helped me the most is finding people in my field of being in the athletic department who look like me. the most comforting thing is to see these female ADs and black female ADs where I'm just like, oh, I need to email you, see what your experience is like so I can learn from your mistakes and learn how to be better. I knew how important it was to find people who look just like me, who are killing the game. In order to be successful, you need a village. And if you don't have a village, you need to get one. I can't stop now because there's gonna be a young lady who comes up 10 years behind me and is gonna be in the same position as me. And I have to step up and fight for a change now to where it's easier for her moving forward. My plan right now is I'm currently a senior academically and a sophomore athletically. I plan on getting my master's in my last 2 years of eligibility. After my master's, I plan on interning with the NCAA. After that, I plan on getting my doctorate, but we'll kind of see how that goes. But whenever I do that, I feel like that will create an equal playing field because, like I said earlier, I'm 20 steps behind. So if I can get that doctorate and start my administration career, then that's what has to be done, and that's what I'm gonna do. And hopefully have a long, long career to where I'm gray-headed and still an athletic director.